What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate. Today, let's go through the biggest games in week 9 of the college football season. And this week is going to do a lot to shape the college football playoff race, all conference championship races, the group of 5 race. There are so many great important games going on. We cannot cover them all. These, I think, are the best of the bunch. And then we will be moving on and showing you 9 other games later that I'm really intrigued to watch this upcoming Saturday. Hey, my name is Nate Pope, otherwise known as Tailgate Nate. This big, wide, wonderful, beautiful world of sports, whatever adjective it is you want to use, I'm really passionate about everything that goes on in it, but especially what goes on in college football. I'm a junkie, and if you're as big of a nerd, for lack of better terminology, as I am, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, so you know when videos get uploaded, and videos are going to get more regular. I think now I'm starting to figure out a good schedule, got a plan, and I apologize for, again, not just having content out as regular as I would like it to be, and I'm sure as you would like it to be as well. Been a busy time for me, and we are finding the rhythm, as one says, and getting the plan together so that I don't miss videos once we get into the nitty gritty here of the college football season, which is coming up last weekend of October. But also, if you want to follow me in my journey in the professional world of sports media, follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, wherever else you like to peruse the socials. All right, let's start with these games right over here. We are going to go in chronological order, and we start all the way on the far side with Ole Miss and Oklahoma. Boy, is this just a massive game. Now, you're going to hear me say it about 5 times throughout this video because it's been the mantra of the SEC this year. But whenever a team really feels like they need a win, they get this win. This feels like a must win for both of these teams. It really does. Both teams are going to sit at 6-1. Both teams have fared pretty well in conference play, although with the one loss recently, again, Oklahoma, that while they beat South Carolina the previous week, they lost to Texas. Ole Miss, of course, coming off that loss last week to Georgia. Both of these teams are still very much alive to get to Atlanta, to get to the college football playoff. And of course, you see the final score, but I hope you'll pay attention to why I picked the game the way that I did. When you take a look at Oklahoma, I think they have the better defense. I think they have the better quarterback, and they're playing at home. So, Nate, why are you picking Ole Miss? Because while John Mateer is the better quarterback, he's not quite looking like himself yet. And this is a defense in Oklahoma that has not gone up against an offense with the firepower that you are going to see out of Ole Miss here today. And Trinidad Chambliss, everything coming into the season was Austin Simmons, and then he gets hurt. He just flat out doesn't play well either. And now Trinidad Chambliss has come into this role and has really excelled for this Ole Miss team. Not even that. Ole Miss has got some really dynamic wide receivers. Guys that I'm going to end up listing off here right now. Harrison Wallace, the Penn State transfer, has been amazing for them. Daquan Wright, that tight end, has been really, really good. And, man, they got a really good running back there. I'll get this one right today. It's Kawan Lacey. Just 10 touchdowns already, averaging 4.5 yards per carry. Chambliss has shown the ability to run the football as well. I just think a lot of the dynamic abilities that Ole Miss has offensively will be something new and a little bit too much for this Oklahoma defense. I like the lane train to go on the road and get this win against Oklahoma. I got them doing it by 3 points. Now, Sooners have a great chance to win this game. I'm sort of calling a shot here because Oklahoma, I believe, is the 5.5, 6.5 point favorite somewhere in that vicinity. I just think Ole Miss has got an offense that can overpower what Oklahoma's going to throw you at defense. If the offensive line can't handle the pass rush, that's where Ole Miss gets into a lot of trouble today. But I think Chambliss, all the weapons they got offensively, it'll lead to a win for the Rebels, and it'll squarely put them way towards the top in the conference championship race. So I like Ole Miss, and I like him to get the win on the road against Boomer. Quick thoughts here on a very important matchup in the group of 5. South Florida has got a ton of them this year, and it really is starting to look like something that I had thought for about a month and a half throughout the season now. The group of 5 champion is probably going to come from the American. You got these two teams right here. Do not, of course, count out Tulane. You have Navy, who's still undefeated, right in the mix. Even North Texas, guys, how about 600 plus yards from Drew Mestamaker last night? He has been unbelievable for the North Texas Mean Green, and they are still in this playoff conversation. Only losses to these South Florida Bulls, and there's some questions about Brendan Lewis in this game for Memphis. If he doesn't go, you're going to see two different quarterbacks splitting time for this Tiger team. I don't know how much I like that. I think Brendan Lewis has been playing really, really well, is a big reason why Memphis has been as successful as they have been. Now, they're coming off the upset loss to UAB. So you get this one at home. You definitely are looking to to regain that momentum forward, right? You just got your first loss of the season. I think Byron Brown is really, really explosive. He's got a ton of good weapons, and especially if Memphis does not have their starting quarterback, Brendan Lewis, on the other side of the line to try to match some of that explosive ability, I think Memphis is going to go down, and it's why I like USF to continue being that front runner in the group of five. I like the Bulls to beat the Tigers on the road. So how about that? A couple road wins to start off my predictions today. Well, let's go ahead and talk about a home team now. Vanderbilt is legit, guys. This is a Vanderbilt team that has looked really, really, really good. And for the people out there that may be thinking, oh, this is just another happy-go-lucky story. Vanderbilt's gonna fall off the face of the earth, la la la. I don't think so, guys. And I got them beating Missouri today. Now, this is a very fascinating game. You have Diego Pavia on one side, one of the front runners for the Heisman Trophy right now. You look on the other side, though, Bo Pribula. He's been playing really, really well for this Missouri team that has their only loss of the season a couple weeks ago against Alabama. Now, they did go on the road and get tested against an Auburn team that has looked about so-so. Welcome to life in the SEC. Now you have your second road game after an emotional double overtime win against a Vanderbilt team that is legit. I think Missouri is going to fight and compete really well, and they got a lot of talent. Ahmad Hardy is one of the best running backs in the country, and I think that defense playing a lot better than people thought they were going to be this year. Man, Vanderbilt is legit. They were a couple of missed opportunities in the red zone away from potentially beating Alabama and probably being a top 5, if not top 3 team in the country. This Vanderbilt team is legit. Diego Pavia is a gamer, and I think this crowd in Nashville, while not as big and electric as some of the other venues you'll see in the SEC, it is going to be a major factor today. Now, if Vanderbilt starts to get sloppy and Missouri's going to force some turnovers, I think that's when you see Bo Pribula in this team really start to explode. And how does Vanderbilt defend Ahmad Hardy? I am stupendously curious to find out how they do that. I think the Tigers are going to give the Commodores a really good run for their money. Man, I am in love with this Vanderbilt team, and I think it's hard not to be, right? And I don't think it's even me just falling for this hype train that's moving forward. I think Diego Pavia is a gamer. I think Eli Stowers is one of the best tight ends in the country, of course, a former quarterback himself. And I think this Vandy defense has got the ability to do a ton of things that opponents just might not be ready for. Vandy's got that surprise factor this year, and why not? Let's keep that train moving. I do think Vanderbilt wins this game. I got them winning it by 3. Now, I think the line is 2.5, something like that. The line that I looked at when I made these predictions was 3.5, 4.5. And so that's why I have my prediction where it is. Regardless, I think Vanderbilt gets the 3-point win, 30-27. I think it'll be a really close competitive game, but Pavia and the Commodores will come out on top. There's a big one in the Big 12 today as BYU takes their unbeaten season on the road to face off against the Iowa State Cyclones, and I think they get beat today. To keep this one pretty short, I love the way that Bear Bachmeier's been playing. I was very hesitant to jump on the BYU train, and now I'm here jumping all over BYU. Let's go Cougars, right? I have them ranked in my top 10 of the Tailgate Nate Power 30. However, I do believe that this is an Iowa State team that when you look overall and they are playing at their fullest strength, I think is better than BYU. Just my personal opinion. I know they have not been as consistent or shown that. This is where BYU gets thrown into the fire. Now, you're coming off a ranked win against Utah. You had to fight, scratch, claw your way to a double overtime victory on the road against Arizona just a couple of weeks ago. Now you come on the road here and what some may say is your biggest test this year. I know Iowa State's coming off some back-to-back road losses. I think it's going to be really good for the Cyclones to get at home here. I think it's going to be really good to have Rocco Becht refined that rhythm on his home field, try to still get chemistry with some of these wide receivers and tight ends who I think he's starting to find his rhythm with, and you've seen that as the season has gone along. Defense, though, that's going to be the big key. That's going to be the big key here for me. Whichever team can win the defensive side of the football, I think is really going to have a leg up in this one. I'm going to go with the home team here. I'm going to go with Iowa State to end BYU's undefeated season. And hey, that's just a part of Big 12 chaos, right? Let it rain. Let it simmer. It has simmered all throughout the country this year. Why not put it where it flourishes in the Big 12? Iowa State, I think, still very much so in the Big 12 conference championship race because, I mean, who are you going to count out in the conference championship race with 2 losses, right? Probably looking at some of those 3-4 loss teams and thinking, yeah, okay, maybe you guys got a lot of work to do. This is the Big 12 we're talking about, man. Everybody's still alive, and I think Iowa State starts to get back on the right path here with a win against BYU. This is where, again, I'm going to say whenever a team feels like they've needed a win, they get it, and that's exactly why I pick LSU over Texas A&M. Now, you just look at the pure stats and things, right? And, well, not even stats. You take a look at the pure results that you have seen over Texas A&M really throughout this season. You have a 1-point win against Notre Dame on the road. That's a very good one. You struggle at home a little bit with Auburn, but you pull away at the end. You struggle a little bit with Mississippi State in the beginning. You pull away at home in the end. You struggle a little bit with Florida. You pull away in the end. You give up 42 points and have to really fight to get a win on the road against an Arkansas team that just does not have a very good defense. And I mean, that was showed. Texas A&M put up 45, but the defense for me, for Texas A&M, is what worries me moving forward. Now, I still like this Aggie team. They got some really tough games coming up, though, and this is where I think rubber's going to meet the road a little bit for them, because, yeah, they have that win against Notre Dame. Now you're starting to see the Irish figure it out. Road game against LSU, road game against Missouri. You still have to play Texas on the road the final week of the regular season. Nothing is easy for Texas A&M, and while they still control their own destiny, it feels like the end times in Baton Rouge right now. And boy, I tell you what, you got a top 3 team coming into that building in a night game environment. The problem with LSU is they can't run the ball, and they are asking Garrett Nussmeier to do way too much. I think Garrett Nussmeier can get it done today. And I think this LSU defense is going to stand up when it needs to. And I just don't think Texas A&M is particularly ready to go play in an environment like this, right? It's their second straight road game. They were close in a trap game environment last week to coming away with that loss. And I think LSU gets it done here today. Marcel Reed and company have played really well. And I've actually been really impressed with what I've seen out of the quarterback Reed so far this year. But Garrett Nussmeier and LSU are going to get this done. Is he going to throw the ball 40 to 50 times? Probably. But I think it's going to be enough for LSU to get this one done. And keep in mind, folks, LSU wins out. They still got Alabama on the schedule. They still got a lot of tough games left to play. They win out. Maybe even if they lose one more game with all the chaos here, they're still alive for the college football playoff. LSU knows they have everything to play for. The spotlight is on Brian Kelly. And it's been the theme of the season in the best conference in college football. Bam, LSU gets the win against Texas A&M at home, and you hope for the Tiger faithful that it starts to regain momentum as the season moves forward. Now, when you take a look at some of the other games, bam, we're going to rapid fire through all of these. All right, apologies for that. I don't know where my score for that one game down there went. But, hey, look, there are many other exciting games than what I have on screen. But there are a ton of big trap games that I want to talk about for a lot of teams that are here on the screen. Actually, I have a lot of teams winning their trap games, which is going to end up being very dangerous for me. But I will explain why I've picked the way that I do. But let's start with the showdown in the Sunshine State, or Sunflower State. Sunflower State? Sunflower State. Sunshine State is Florida, Nate. You have Kansas State, you have Kansas. I believe 16 straight years for the Wildcats in this rivalry matchup. Not this year, man. I'm going to end up going with Jalen Daniels and the Kansas Jayhawks to be able to get this win here, end this long losing streak. And again, I just talked about when you take a look at the Big 12 standings, and nobody feels really out of it at this point, right? Well, you take a look at what's going on within the Big 12. I mean, Kansas State, they both are sitting right there with 2 losses. So it could very well be a de facto Big 12 championship race elimination game here. And just the way that Kansas State and their defense has looked this year, Avery Johnson is not living up to code, so on and so forth. There's been a lot of turmoil within that Wildcat program. The Jayhawks have seen some interesting performances. They've been a little bit up and down here. 4 straight weeks of win, loss, coming off a loss a couple weeks ago against Texas Tech. They've had a couple weeks to rest up for this one, and I think Kansas will be able to get the job done here at home. Jalen Daniels will prove to be a little bit too much for this Kansas State defense. Let's go now to the SEC, where we actually have quite a bit of games out of the SEC on my prediction slate here today. Let's go to Auburn and Arkansas. This is going to be a really exciting matchup, I think. Now, things are going to get tense for Hugh Freeze down there in Auburn. It's an Arkansas team that already has let Sam Pittman go this year, but this is an Arkansas offense, guys, that I just don't want to face. I really don't. And Auburn has had a lot of struggles offensively this year in a bunch of different capacities. I think that's going to shine through yet again today, and I do think you see this Tiger team go down today. This is just an Arkansas offense that is playing really well. They have all season long, and I don't think Auburn's going to have the firepower necessary to keep up on the road. Could that spell the end for Hugh Freeze? We'll have to wait and see. But I got the Hogs winning that one 35-27. All right, here comes just a slew of trap games. This is the week of trap games. While the big time matchups are certainly present within the SEC, throughout the country, you're like, there's nothing that really gets your blood going or is exciting. Man, watch out for a ton of these trap games this week. And Alabama, South Carolina is one of them, particularly in the SEC, right? When teams need a win. When teams need a win to revive their season, to get some momentum going, it's happened in the SEC, and I'm picking against a lot of them. You know what? We're going to go through all of them right now really, really quickly, actually. So I apologize. I'm going to go out of order here a little bit, so hopefully you guys can follow. Alabama and South Carolina. I think this Bama team is just finally turning it on, man. By the way, go back to South Florida and Memphis. As of recording this video, I just got a notification that says Brendan Lewis is going to go. That's going to give Memphis a better shot. Still picking South Florida, though, guys. Anyway, we start with this one here. Trap games in the SEC. This is the South Carolina team that needs a win badly, but with the way this defense from Alabama is playing, and with the way that it seems like pretty much everybody besides Lenora Sellers is struggling offensively for the South Carolina team, and now you're even starting to see Sellers not play his best football this season, and Alabama's getting Ty Simpson going. They got some really good running backs. Of course, Ryan Williams is out there on the outside for this Bama team. But boy, I tell you what, this defense is coming alive. It learned a thing or two or 3,000 from that first game against Florida State. Bama is really starting to roll. The Tide are clicking on all cylinders, and I think Alabama is going to be able to survive this one by a couple scores, mind you, here on the road. Now, this is Bama's coming off a long string of ranked games, right, where they've played and beaten ranked teams. Well, now you get one that you can think, woo, we can settle down a little bit. Yeah, it's on the road, but hey, it's not as tough as the competition we played the past month, right? Right? Well, don't be sleepy if you're Bama. That's the message if I'm Kalen DeBoer entering this matchup here. Let's move right down below it, Texas and Mississippi State. This is probably the biggest upset potential one for me, just because of the way that Texas has looked, with the way that Mississippi State has been feisty and fought this year, so on and so forth. Mississippi State lost a heartbreaker to Florida last week. This is a massive chance for them to get back into the thick of things and really be able to, again, just throw the season off the rails for Texas. But much like LSU, it's felt like the sky is falling in Texas for so long. Arch Manning just needing to feel out and find his rhythm still. This is a big one for Texas to get on the road, and I do think that they get it. I think this is going to be a very popular upset pick, and I honestly don't see why it shouldn't be. Texas has not looked great this year. Mississippi State is feisty, but that Texas defense, man, it forces a couple of turnovers, and I'd watch out for those fans ringing the bells in Starkville. And I think that's what Texas does today, so I will go with the Longhorns to pick up this win on the road against Mississippi State. And really quick thoughts down there about that one, Tennessee and Kentucky. I like the way Joey Aguilar has fit into this offense. I think this is another one, though, that, again, don't get too comfortable with. Kentucky just took Texas to overtime last week. Again, you can say what you want about Texas. That shows the strength in the SEC after Kentucky was that close last week. Are they going to be able to get it done this week? I think there's a really good potential. You've seen now, I believe it's Zach Calzada really starting to play some good football for this Kentucky team. And, man, if this Tennessee defense cannot stand up, they're going to have some trouble here today. But I think Joey Aguilar, this offense, they got enough pieces there that are going to be able to get that thing won and done. All right, now let's move on to 3 in the Big Ten Conference. Let's start out with another trap game. Illinois going on the road to play a really good Washington team. When you take a look at Washington, only 2 losses this year, Ohio State, Michigan, and they competed really well in both of those games, just were not able to live up to the might of both Michigan and Ohio State, who beat them by pretty similar scores, actually. They got an Illinois team coming into town that when you look at the Big Ten right now, you're thinking of 3 teams for the playoff, right? Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon. There's a great chance for Illinois, whose only 2 losses are to Ohio State and to Indiana. Well, those are the top 2 teams in the country. And again, whatever happened in Bloomington, I think they competed really well in Champaign against the team from Columbus. I think they're going to go on the road and get a pretty big win here. I like this Washington team. I like Demon Williams. I like Jonah Coleman, etc., etc. But I do believe that this is a an Illini team that's just going to end up playing their brand of football today. I think they're going to be defensively physical. I think they're going to find a way to contain Demon Williams, and I think Luke Altmaier and his experience are going to start to show forth here in this game. So, man, Illinois going on the road, I think going to pick up a big win there against Washington, and that's going to be really nice for Illinois to boost their resume, as the rest of their schedule seems pretty favorable there as well. Minnesota and Iowa. All right, you got these 2 teams matching up. We all know this is going to be a defensive slog, and abandon ye faith who enter Iowa City. I think that's what's going to happen today. Quick thoughts from this one. Mark Gronowski, I know you look at his stat line, only 3 touchdowns, 4 picks. It just doesn't look great. It looks like Iowa still has not found their quarterback. In fact, they have not had a 300-yard passer in a game since, I believe it was Nate Stanley in 2019. Nate Stanley in 2019 might very well be the last 300-yard game from Iowa, folks. That is just crazy. Mark Gronowski is starting to find, though, is my point in saying those stats. He's starting to find his rhythm. He's starting to look really, really good. And I do think that this is a Hawkeye team that when you get here, they're 3-1 in conference. Look, if there's chaos to be had in the Big Ten and Ohio State goes down somewhere and Indiana goes down somewhere, watch out for that Hawkeye program, man. They're going to keep hanging around. They're going to keep being feisty. They got a lot of opportunity still left on that schedule. Oregon here in a couple of weeks. That's going to be a really fun one. They'll get the win against Minnesota today, as I think you see Mark Gronowski have a little bit of a coming out party. And then Michigan against Michigan State. Rivalry matchup here, but Michigan State has just not taken the necessary steps forward that I thought they were going to this year. There is the question, though, about Justice Haynes for Michigan. Is he going to be healthy? Is he going to be ready to go? Big point of contention for a Wolverine program that really needs his presence in the backfield. Now, they were able to do it last week without him and get themselves a pretty comfortable win at home against Justice Haynes. I think they're going to go on the road, get the night game rivalry matchup win here. They beat Michigan State. I got by a score of 27-17. Last one we'll discuss here is Houston and Arizona State. Houston only lost it to Texas Tech. That was the last time they faced a quote-unquote legit opponent, but Houston's got some really good wins that are out there on the schedule for them this year. They just get a tough matchup against an Arizona State team that, look, it has been really shaky for a lot of people this year. It's still a team I like a whole lot. They're my highest ranked 2-loss team because when you look at the way they've lost those 2 games, well, they lost to Mississippi State, because Sam Levitt just didn't play well, and they got thumped by Utah because Sam Levitt didn't play at all. I think the expectation is that he is back this week, and Houston's going to be a really tough out, man. This is a Cougar team that's been built up very well by Willie Fritz, but especially if Sam Levitt is back today, I like him, I like Jordan Tyson, and I like a lot of the pieces present in this secondary to get this one done for Arizona State. Again, the reigning Big 12 champs, by no means out of the conference race, and even Houston will not be after a loss here today. Boy, I tell you what, there are a lot of other really good games. UCLA against Indiana is one that intrigues me. Virginia going on the road to play a North Carolina team that really has been dreadful this year. We'll see where that ends up leading. Baylor Cincinnati, I think, is an interesting one out of the Big 12 conference. And just so many other. Georgia Tech has got a game against Syracuse. There's a game involving Wake Forest that I think is going to end up being, SMU on the road against Wake Forest. Watch out for that one there as well. Oh, so many good group of 5 games as well. It's going to be a great Saturday. We'll get this video up now ASAP. Guys, gotta be honest with you, it was a really bad week for picks for me last week. I think I went 7-8 after predicting 15 games. We're looking to have a much better week this week. I mean, come on, we gotta have a much better week. 71-39 is my record. We have predicted 110 games on the season so far. Can you believe it? We're predicting 14 more this week. Oh, actually, let's tack on number 15, shall we? Not present on here, but a number 1 versus number 2 matchup in the FCS realm. North Dakota State, South Dakota State. And to make this analysis really, really brief, man, both teams have got some great players. I'll go with the home side. We'll do South Dakota State is going to get that win over North Dakota State. We will count that one for predictions there as well. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your college football Saturday. And remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. See y'all in the next video. Goodbye.